Hi guys, how are y'all today? I hope everybody's doing well. Give me a thumbs up that you can hear me, see me, understand what I'm saying, all of those wonderful things, because we never know with the internet. Also, say where you're from. You never know. Somebody may be digitizing right next to you. So, welcome, Kelly. Welcome, Robin. Hopefully, there's a few others going to roll in shortly. Hello, Linda. Good to see you. I didn't get any questions, guys. I don't know what you want. The only one I got was to review what mats to use with what blades. And that has nothing to do with software today, but I'll kind of go through it. Good to see you, Cindy and Francie. Okay. So I do not have, I am in the middle of organizing this mess. So I do not have my video camera set up above my table and able to stream that with you today because I'm trying to organize chaos. It's that time of year, you know how it is, where I've gotten more equipment in. I have an iron that I'm dying to show you that I've got to get up here and into its home. And I have the print motor printer, I have the sublimation printer. So everything is trying to find a new home in my space, which means things are not quite set up to do video at this point. Hopefully that'll happen by the third week of January, because next week I'll be in Tennessee. So good to see you guys. Thanks for strolling in today. So let's talk about mats on your scan and cut. Mats and blades. The bottom line is you can use any mat with any blade, but there are guidelines kind of how to do it. If you are using the fabric blade, that is your gold blade, with, and it's designated for fabric without a backing. So cotton fabric, no backing. We have what's called a fabric mat, and it has a gold strip on the bottom of it. That's the one you use with your fabric blade. Having said that, if you have a very lightweight backing like Heat and Bond Light or the Bosal backing that I use, or the Brother backing that I sometimes use as well, any of those are kind of lightweight. So if I'm using those, I still, and it's a cotton fabric, I will use my fabric blade with it and use a standard mat. Now, if your fabric is going to be face down, however, it needs to be fabric mat all the way. I'm going to sit here and tell you flat out, I never use Steam a Seam 2, ever. And I do not, that's my preference, because that paper doesn't stick to that backing. Therefore, all it's going to do is gum up your blade, and it's not worth the hassle. If I'm going to do that, I may as well just cut it out by hand, because I'm going to make a mess out of things. So that's the fabric mat and fabric blade. Standard mat is generally your all-purpose mat. It's the one that you go to when you have no clue as to what else to do. Same thing with the black auto blade. That is your general purpose go-to blade and mat. Okay. I use my standard mat for the majority of stuff that I cut, unless I'm cutting fabric without a backing. If you are cutting with a rotary auto blade, depending on what fabric you're cutting, depends on what mat you'll be using. The blade rolls, so that's not a problem. But sometimes you have to go over it multiple times if you have something that's very thick, like a dense wool. So with the dense wool, I'll go with more tack on my mat. I'll go with my fabric mat just because I want it to stay in the same spot. If I'm using a delicate lace, however, I'm going to be using my low tack mat. So it really depends on how much grip you feel like you need for that particular material. Some things need more grip than others. So, you know, if it's you really have to kind of look at that and see what you want to do. You know, how much grip do you need and what blade? Because the rotary auto blade rolls over things. It doesn't drag like the others do. The others drag. So it doesn't tend to need as much grip as most things. So if I'm using a satin or a lace or paper with my rotary auto blade, then I'm on my low tack mat. Most of the time I'm on my standard because I don't do a lot of fabric. I mean, excuse me, a lot of paper. Most of my stuff is fabric. The vinyl auto blade is the most delicate blade that we have. It has the finest tip on it. It is for your vinyls basically. It does a beautiful job, and if you don't have that blade, that is one kit I suggest you buy because it really is awesome. I use it with my low tack or my standard mat when I'm cutting vinyl. It depends on how much, once again, how much grip I need. I usually will tape around my edges so that so that my paper backing for adhesive vinyls doesn't stick to the mat. So I don't tend to bray it down very much. I'll just tape my edges because you're doing a half cut when you're doing those vinyls. With heat transfer vinyl, you can use the low tack or the standard mat, either one of those. Your scan mat is for scanning, and it is a lovely thing because it has a little acetate cover on it, and it allows you to put paper underneath it. It has no grid lines whatsoever, and you can only scan with it. The machine will physically not let you cut with it. It will tell you this mat cannot be used if you try to cut. So if I scanned something in direct cut mode and tried to do that, it would not let me do it. It would say, nope, sorry, this mat can't be used. So you can't mess it up that way. I love that they did that. So, and that's really, those are your basics. So, I mean, your low tack mat you're going to use for your for your papers, for your laces, for your vinyls. Your standard mat is your general all-purpose mat. If you don't know what to do with it, go with that. So that's what I would say. Sandra, you only get to see what you see here. You should have seen it the other day. It was just overflowing with stuff. Absolutely overflowing. And I said, okay, we've got to do something. So I went and got some storage bins and I'm working on it. My closet that I keep things in, I finally had stacks of stuff where we've done lives and I've done a project and I've just gone and thrown it in the closet. Well, I made stacks of, okay, these are my UFOs and these are my finished projects that could go in my suitcase for samples. So that's kind of one of those. Let's see here. What do we got? So people are definitely rolling in. So Francis, if you can blend different colors like on a rainbow, orange to yellow, and so on. We have a thing called gradient in P Design 11, but it's not going to do like a rainbow blend. You would have to do those manually. So I'll kind of talk to you about that. Oh, Cindy, I'm so sorry to hear about that. Hopefully everything comes out well on your end. I hate to hear that. Okay, so let's talk about blending a little bit. If you're going to try to blend, there are, like I said, you can do gradient, but you're not going to get the rainbow effect. So you're kind of manually having to do that yourself. Okay, so let me come over here. And Betty, I'll answer your question in just a second. So let's say I'm doing a shape, just a regular old basic shape. If I want to blend it, I go into my sewing attributes, and there's this button called gradation. Now, when you touch pattern, you can select a second color here. So if you do blend, it gives you a secondary color. You have color 1 and you have color 2. So when you touch the thread tile, you can pick up a color. So we'll go from magenta and go into red and let you see what you get. You're going to have a better view of this in stitch view than you will in realistic view. So let me kind of zoom in on this. You can see what we've got going on. Let me pick different colors there. Hold on. Let's change the bottom color to a lighter color so you can really see it. So you can see how it's doing yellow into purple. And if I go into realistic view, you can't really see it unless I change the view. So if I go to my realistic view settings and change my thread down towards thin and apply, this is just for looking at it. I don't want to go all the way to thin. I just want to see what it's going to do. So you can see that that's kind of blending that way. Can I change how it blends? Yes, I can. I can go into pattern and I can pick one of the different presets and it will totally change how it blends, or you can manually adjust your presets yourself. So you can make your own pattern. What I will tell you though is it will not hold it for another time unless you copy the attributes. So let's go ahead and do that. So now you can see I'm heavier in the middle and lighter on the edges, but that gives you tons of play with it. But if you're trying to do a rainbow, you're going to have to do it all by yourself. So I'm going to go in here and turn off gradation. And let's grab our drawing tool. So usually I'll bring in something to use as a reference. If I want to bring in a shape, I may pull it from Canvas Workspace, but let's just use this as our shape. So let's say we want to blend one. I'm going to come in and I'm going to create part of it here. Let's turn a corner and double click to close it. Oops, I did open shape and I don't want open shape. I want to close that shape. So let's right here and Alt key, attach it. Now it's closed, but I don't want an outline. So let's come up to my shapes, turn off my outline, and we will change that color so you can tell what I'm doing here. We'll start with pink. And if you want to, you can come and adjust the nodes. So then your next step would be to come in and grab the next piece. And I'm going to do closed shape this time so that I don't mess myself up. Straight though first. Then curved with my X key. Straight across. Curve it. Oh no, straight. And then change your color. So let's say we wanted that to be more on the blue rainbow. But that's really how you have to do it. And if you want to feather them in, I would change my angles. Let's see if it'll let me do this. Okay, so I may want to make this a little bit bigger. Let me change my nodes. Now, I'm going to show you how to feather it. So you can see that I've got those two shapes overlapping. What I can do is, depending on which side I did first, will depend on which side is the top and which is the bottom. You do want to take your undersewing off if you're trying to feather, because otherwise it's going to stick in there and we may not want it to be as big of a feather as we have. So I might want to reduce that feather or change my feather pattern. Then for this one, it should be this guy. Once again, I would want to turn off my undersewing because I'm trying to feather it in. And I might, once again, change the depth of that feathering. And then if you need to make any adjustments, grab your edit nodes and you can always pull things up. Now, I'm not crazy about how it's got that little line underneath there and it's not letting me change it. Let's take the feathering off for a second and then let's go edge run. Now let's see if we put our feather on. That may be one that I'd want to play with. Yes, I've got them going basically the same direction. I didn't do exactly the same direction. That one's 151. This one's 147. So let me make this one 151 too. But yes, you would want them the same direction so that they kind of feather in there. I would probably change my sewing order to try to get the blend, but nope, that's worse. So let's see if we change where it enters and exits, if that helps us out any. Now let's try this one. There we go. So by changing my entry and exit point, I got rid of that stitch line that's underneath it. The yellow would not be part of this in the end, Patty. Think of it like this. That was my artwork that I'm working on. So my yellow would not be part of this. If I'm building a design from the ground up, that was just for me to be able to have something to draw over. So let's go and continue on so you can kind of get the concept of what I'm saying. I'm going to keep coming around here. And I think that's probably a good split. So let's pick a color for, let's select it and pick a color for it. And change our feathering option to the opposite. And reduce that feathering amount. Now this time I might want to feather, once I get into the secondary portions, I may want to feather on both sides. So that blue I didn't feather but one side. I probably need to do it on both edges so that both edges blend. Same thing with my purple here. Okay. So remember, yellow's not going to stitch. Oops. Yellow's not going to stitch. The others are. And that's how you get that effect, basically. You just kind of have to feather it in. There is no automatic button to make that work. Okay. Let's see here. Well, DJ, thanks so much. I'm glad you've enjoyed these. I want to hook up my new Stellaire. Okay. Okay. So Linda, it does not speak wirelessly to the 230DX. It only speaks wirelessly through my connection with a 330D or a 325. Okay, those are the two. My connection is only available through those two scan and cut machines. It does not work with earlier models. It has a different side of a brain that it uses that is only on the 325 and the 330D. So don't waste any more time trying to do that. You will need to use a USB stick or Canvas workspace to transfer things around. And it will not go into your an FCM file will not go into your what am I trying to say, Stellaire, without my connection. So you might want to sell your 230 and get a 330 or a 325, or just go USB and don't worry about it. Let's see here. Built-in fills that come with P is 11. P Design 11. Hold on a second. That one is easy to tell you where it's at, Miss Betty. So let's say we want to put a fill in this. All right. We are going to go up to our shapes and choose decorative fill. And then click on this little button over where the fills are. You can either click here or the file folder. I'm going to click on the biggest target. Once you've done that, this window pops up. To find those fills, you've obviously gone somewhere else and picked some up somewhere else. You click the file folder, and then you are going to navigate to, I'll take you through the whole kit and caboodle here. So you're going to go this PC, C drive, Go find Program Files x86 and expand that with that arrow right there. And then go find PE Design 11, excuse me, Brother. And then find PE Design 11. And then find Pattern. And all you have to do is click on the folder Pattern and click OK. And the built-in ones would come up. If you have purchased some from me and you haven't plopped them in that folder, then that's what's happened to you. You wherever you downloaded those to. So let's say I want to go to mine. Where is my D drive? There we go. Let's say I want to find my Christmas fills. Where are those? So here is Winter Collection 1, Decorative Fills. I touch OK. There's my decorative fills for the winter collection. And when I come back in, that's the one that is selected. So if I want to go back out of that and go back into the P Design ones, click that file folder, collapse everything, go to your C drive, Program Files x86, Brother, P Design 11, click on the file folder for Pattern and click OK. And that takes you back to your regular ones. And then you can select those and play with them all you want. Okay, next question. No? Yes. Thanks, Patty. Patty wrote it down. Program Files, Brother, P Design 11, Pattern, and just click on the Pattern folder. That takes you to it. Thanks, Patty. I appreciate that. You know, I needed a secretary. And Patty, you're a really good one. I do appreciate that. Okay, so what else would you guys like to know today? Next week we will not be having a live, so ask it today because next week I am in Tennessee doing training. Unfortunately or unfortunately, it's work, right? So, oh, you don't give yourself enough credit, Miss Patty. I know I've seen some of your work. I know you can. All right, let's see here, guys. Oh, you want something from me today, and I don't know exactly what I want to talk about. You know, you should never give me a vacation. I actually did take time off at Christmas. I did not worry about anything related to work. I totally didn't. It should not have moved those to my documents. The only thing that should be moved to your documents should be, I'll show you those files, your sample files. So if I go into my program file or my desktop and I go into my documents and I go into P Design 11, it should only be my sample and tutorial files and the reference, okay? So those your sample files are there. These are, you'll find some stuff for Design Center, for your font creator program, for layout and editing. In layout and editing, these are different samples of things that you'll see. But it should not have done, it shouldn't have turned everything in. And if you do any of the tutorials from their manual, you'll find those tutorial files in there as well. But that's all you should see in your documents. Yes, I do believe I have worn a path between me and Brother Headquarters by now. And once again, I'm traveling to Bartlett. Leave on Monday, come back on Friday. That is my, it's killed my status with Delta. Bummer. I don't have it set up to where you can buy them by themselves. They're, that they are, they're all in a folder. And here's the thing, guys. If I sell you a $3 pattern, it's going to cost me at least $3. And that'll be my cost when it comes in through the credit card challenges. I mean, every time a credit card charge goes through, it costs money. And so that's why I have done them in in clusters of groups of things instead of individuals. And to upload individual files for purchase at this time is a little bit more than I've got on my. I'll think about it. I'll put it that way. I'll think about it. You're going to get your best value though if you if your best value is if you buy them in the group. I'll be honest, but I'll think about it. I'll see if I can figure out a way to do that. Okay, other questions for me today? Come on, guys, you got to have something for me. Otherwise, we're going to have a quick live today. I'm looking. Did I miss any? I hope you all had a wonderful New Year. I had a good one. It was nice and quiet, and we stayed in. We watched football. It's kind of one of those show photo stitch settings. Okay. Let's see here. Ooh, I don't know if I've got any pictures on here, but it's possible. Let's go to our image tab and let's go to photo stitch 2 color. This is the most common one that people want to do. Oh, excuse me, photo stitch 1 color. Like, I'm not seeing what I want. Let me go see if I have. Okay, so I don't have my digitizing so easy. Let me see. We're going to try raw photo. I have no idea what I've got. We'll see what we've got. And no, I do not have a release on file for my nephew, for my great nephew. Okay, so here's my picture. And the first thing I'm going to do is crop out what I don't want. So if there's things that I don't want, I would come in and I would basically crop it out. You can create a clipping mask, but I find that that's more trouble than it's worth because then you got to refine the mask. So I personally just click and add edit nodes to go around it. He's going to look like he's floating in space, but you all will get the concept here. Evidently, I'm having quite the time here with this. Let's zoom in. It's always nice to get up close and personal. I want y'all to look at those blue eyes. Aren't they pretty? So anyhow, you would continue along, and now he's got some wild hair going on. He just got up from a nap at this point. Let's come and grab the one out of the corner. That's always the one that we forget, and then we get a wild stray stitch out somewhere hanging out in space. The reason I do this is because I don't want to deal with the background. I could always take my photo into Canva and do a background remover, which is really a nice little program that allows you to do a lot of stuff. I'm not going to get real finessey with this. You'll get the concept. That's really all we're trying for, right? Let's get it out of the corner over here, and I'm going to leave the rest of that just so you understand how it's done. This is kind of like watching paint dry, watching me do this. So I will not. You don't know how hard this is for me to leave this section, but I'm going to. Let's just get it roughly where we want it to be. And each time you click on the line, it adds a node. And you can simply click and drag it. All right, that's good enough for government work. Okay, so he does kind of look like he's floating in space, except with the exception of his mama's legs there. So I want to go to design settings at this point. I never do a photo stitch less than 5 by 7 inches. The bigger you get it, the better it's going to be. I can't stress that enough. The bigger you make it, the better it's going to be. So I'm going to do my 10 by 10 inch frame, and then I'm going to say fit to page. And we'll go next. Because you have to remember it's weaving in stitches in a small space to create something. Now, I don't know why it defaulted to my chart, but we'll go this way and say update preview. All right, so what do I do here? Run pitch is your length of stitch. Shorten that down as much as you can, which is 2 millimeters. Take your detail up to fine and then update preview. You can select from candidates, but I tend to go into about 14 colors, depending on what I'm doing. Well, let's see if we want 15. When it doesn't make a difference, that's when I stop. Now, regardless of whether I'm doing it with brother thread or somebody else's thread, I might try different thread palettes just to see if I can get a better color combo. And as you play, update your preview each time. I'm kind of liking that color combination a little bit better, although it's got a little bit much pink in its face. Let's see what we get out of Pacesetter Pro. Oh, there we go. I'm liking that one. Now, you can do select from candidates, and this pops up, and you can choose from one of those candidates. The center one is your default. That's the one that it automatically produced. And what it does is it adjusts your brightness contrast. When you are done, hit finished. And give it a second. There you go. Oh, I guess I should get rid of my heart that I've hidden, but that's your photo stitch. That is going to be the most detail that you can get. Now, if you don't like that one, or if you want to check another one, you can always move that one to the side and then go back into photo stitch again. Your cropping will still apply. So all the cropping that you just did, as long as I don't hit new page, I can still play. I can go in and try another version of this, so we can come in and touch next. And next again, so you can see all of my cropping is still there. His little yellow crocs are so cute. Now, I can come back in and hit select from candidates again and try a darker version of it. Let's say we want to try this one and see what it looks like, or this one. Let's try that. That one's got a little bit more pink in the face than I want, but it may work out just fine. So there you go. That one gives us a little bit more detail, but his hair is a bit dark. So I still kind of like the first one better. Now, I'm going to show you something else. If you look at it in stitch view as opposed to realistic view, it is going to give you a better indicator, although you'll have the jump stitches. It responds faster, and you'll have a better indicator of whether you're going to like it or not. This is how I look at it. I just kind of ignore the jump stitches because that's what they are. Those dashed lines are jump stitches, and look at it to see, do I like what it's actually doing? And that one's not bad. Now, if you want to refine this at all, you can. Ooh, hello, no. Let's do this. Let's go stitches and go divide by color. And then it breaks it down into blocks. So then if you want to get rid of some of this taupe, I can go into select point, and I don't want to get rid of any of those. Let's see what this does. I'm good with that. This is what I want to get rid of. So if you didn't quite crop where you wanted to crop, you can always come in and get rid of some of it. Just highlight the nodes that you don't want and press delete. And so then I would look and see what that other color is. It looks like a really dark color. Yes, right there. And you can do some perfecting there. So if you don't want one, if you hold your control key down and click on the node, you can go ahead and get rid of it that way. All right. So that is how you play with it. And sometimes I'll even go in and play with the eyes and futz around with those and see if I can't get a better color. So that eye looks like it's kind of this bluey, this color. And if I go to my split stitches tool, ooh, hello. Nope, it's not that color. Let's see here. Is it this color? Yes, there we go. Split stitches. So if I wanted his eyes to be a different color, I can always use my split stitches tool, grab that, and then let's say I go to my, select it, go to my color tab and pick a brighter blue. So you can see I've changed that color a bit, and you kind of have to futz and figure out where it actually is. But that's how I play with photo stitch. All right, guys, other things. Isn't he a cutie? He is a sweetheart too. He's about to get a little sister. Both of my nieces are pregnant. They're both due in the May time frame. So we're about to get two more little ones in the family. Okay, guys. Any other questions for me? I'm just gonna delete this one. We'll just go new page and go forth. Yes, you can embroider on a sweater. When you're embroidering on a sweater, you want to look for a design that is going to work for it. The biggest thing is stabilization. You want to make sure you stabilize it enough and you put a topper on it. The stabilizer needs to be a cutaway because you're going to wear it and it's got stretch. So if you wear it, don't tear it. And if it stretches, it has to stay. Those are your two rules. So wear it, don't tear it. That means you need a cutaway stabilizer. So that's what I would tell you. Sandra, the other thing that I do sometimes is if it's a straight on photo and I know that they have blue eyes, I will go in and make them demon people in a photo editing software. I will go in and give them fix their eyes to where they have blue eyes or green eyes or whatever color their eyes are, so it doesn't look so muddled if they're full face on. That is my preference. And usually photo stitch comes out pretty well. One of the things that I encourage you to do when you're first starting, so let me go do that one more time. Let's go back to our image tab, photo stitch. Try Grayscale. I'll have to tell you, these are some fun. If you, unfortunately, I got out of that, but let's see here. Let's grab this one again, and we're just going to do the whole thing this time. Well, Betty, I wish they were my grandbabies, but I didn't have any children, so they're my great nieces and nephews. All right. Oh, it did save my cropping. Good. So there's my cropping. We're going to go ahead and do next. There is another thing that you can do, especially when you're doing grayscale, and I'll back up and do that in just a second. I'm going to do design settings again. We're in the right spot, and we're going to fit it to the page. But let's go previous. And let me pop it back. I'm going to do a square this time, and we'll just do that part of him. If you do image tune, If you'll sharpen that image up, you get way more detail. So let's go with that and see what we get. But these are easier to make, and they turn out so cool without much work. So this is the Pace Setter Pro colors, and if you want to up, you can add more colors in if you want. These are all shades of gray. You can also create your own thread palette with gray colors. So here's one with grays only, and then finish. That one, well, I guess I needed to shorten my stitch. Hold on. Let me go back in. But Grayscale and Sepia are great ones to start with because you're not trying to match facial colors. That would be one of the things that I would tell you is it makes it nice because you're not trying to match those facial colors. And that's a little bit harder. All right, so let's do next. And pull this up. I forgot to shorten my stitch. So I want you look at it right now. So everybody look at this one real close right now. I'm going to make it bigger. Let's see if it'll make it bigger. So you can see what we've got. So you can see the detail that we've got right now. If I shorten my stitch, I want you to see what happens as I shorten it. Watch how much sharper that picture becomes. Same thing when you increase your detail, which is your density to fine. It basically fills in the areas more. And that one is a big, these are so much easier to do, and you're not trying to match somebody's skin, and they turn out so cool. Wedding photos are great with this. So there you go. And he's super cute. That would be a fun growth chart. Photo stitch, the difference between photo stitch 1 and 2. Photo stitch 1 is realistic. Photo stitch 2 is not. Photo stitch 2 is more of a, photo stitch 2 color is more of a tapestry type look. So it's going to weave that picture in out of 4 different colors. We're going to go ahead and leave it alone. So you can see how it's done 4 different colors. Now, it auto selects them. You can change that and pick different selections. You can pick different thread palettes. But most people prefer the other. This was what everybody else had before. And I mean, it's just not my favorite. But it weaves it in a tapestry. You can come in and you can change a color. Let's say I don't like yellow. I don't want yellow to weave in there. I can go in and I can select that color tile and change the color. And let's say I wanted it to be a tan instead. But it weaves it in like a tapestry. Okay. Then let's cancel that one. And photo stitch 1 or photo stitch 2 mono is going to give you a monochromatic, which means a one color look. So this is going to weave this picture into one thing. And as this is where you're choosing the detail that you want it to go with. So think of those silhouette portrait things that we did out of 10 at one time. You can update, you can change the direction. As you change your brightness contrast, it changes the way things appear. But that's what that one does. And you gotta kind of pick the right photo for it too. You can increase and decrease your density. That's your line interval. So that's increasing it. This is your density. You can increase the density. And you can add a mask outline. Now, DJ, you ask if there are frames in PE Design for the photo stitch. So I'm going to back up here for a second. And I'm going to show you a little trick. If we go back to, this should be my last crop. There it is. And I go next. And I touch next again. You notice how it's got an outline around it? This is add mask outline. You can turn it on or turn it off. That puts basically an outline around it. There are not picture frames in the software. There are some, and they won't. Here, there are some decorative patterns. Let's go to our import window and look. But I'm pretty sure no is the answer to that. You'd have to kind of make your own. There, I don't see any frames. Okay. Let me come back over here. If you want to photo select the image that you want to work. Really not so much the hair, but more about, I usually will warm up my photo, so I will make the photo warmer because our photos come in more cool toned, and that turns a lot of the facial features kind of a grayish bluish. So I will warm up the photo. I will basically enhance the eyes, enhance the lips, and I give them a chiclet white smile if they're looking at me face on with smiles. Otherwise, you get railroad tracks in the teeth. So those are the little things that I've done in in my Photoshop program that I suggest you do. Let's see here. Yeah, the cleaner the image is going to be, the better. If you don't have a big background on it, I'll show you a little trick that I could have done. I have a, oh, evidently I already have it running. No, I don't. Do not have it running. Canva. If you have a subscription, I don't think this is available on the free version, but if you have a subscription, let me see here. Let me go to, let's see here. Let's go here. And let's do design. Let me just do new. File new. That's fine. I don't care. Oh, no. I don't want a new doc. Let's see here. Create new design. There, that'll work. Okay, so I'm going to go into my uploads and come and drop in Nola here. So let's say I want to do her in a photo stitch and I don't want the background. What I can do is go into edit photo and do a background remover. This is the, I mean, that is sweet, quick, and easy. And then you go share and you can choose download. And I'm going to go to PNG. And I can say I want a transparent background and say download, or a white background. I'm going to leave a white background on this one because transparent doesn't work in P design. And we'll just say, we'll call this Nola. Now, let me come into Photo Stitch. Let's do new image. I keep wanting to go to view today for some reason. Let me go to my downloads. Where am I darn down there? Nola. That'll work. And we'll just do a square and we'll crop in. So we're just looking at the dog. And you can say, on this one, I could say clipping mask. It should, it's clean enough that it should work perfectly, and it did. So we'll say, okay. And it's done it automatically for me. For hair and stuff like that, this one with dogs, I tend to definitely sharpen those pictures up. That way you get the curlies. Fit it to my page and touch next. So here she is. I've got Grayscale on right now. Let's change it to color. And let's give her some more color. Go fine detail, shorten this. And there we go. Now, if you don't like a color, let's say I don't like that one, I can remove it and update my preview. So now I don't have quite that same pink. Let me do that one too. Let's remove it. There you go. I'm quite content with that one. I would say finish. If I want to outline around it, I can add my mask outline. I'm just going to leave it alone and hit finished. So I'll show you what happens if I choose a transparent background, Patty. Let's let that do its thing. We'll go share and I'll download again and we'll choose transparent background. And we'll do, I'll definitely call that one NOLA 2. Because I used NOLA on the last one. Okay, so let's just open a whole new window. Now, if I go to my image tab, photo stitch 1 color, and go to home, I believe it's here, downloads, NOLA 2. It will give it a black background with a transparent background. And if you've got something with black in it, that's not what you want to do. It's going to work for this particular image, but I personally prefer having a white background unless it's a white image. So it depends on what you've got. Let's fit her to the page, but I mean, that's basically the difference. P Design, when you bring in a transparent PNG file, a PNG file with a transparent background, that means you're going to have black. It just replaces it to black. Okay. And that's why, Kelly, because it depends on what colors are in it, but a transparent background translates to black in P Design. So if it's okay, if you're okay with it being black, no problem. So yeah, a contrasting background is definitely going to be something that works best, because then it's going to automatically define where you're at. And you don't, I mean, if you want the background included, you can. So if instead did not crop around this one, let's say I didn't crop and I left it as a black background, I could come in and do a square and leave some background in it. Let's just do square and do select and make it a little bit bigger to where I had something around it. You can do that. That's not my preference. I would prefer not to waste color or not to waste stitching time on a background. But you can if you want. That is totally up to you. Once again, increase your colors if you want to, change your density and your run pitch. And then if you want to remove some colors, I'm going to come in and get rid of that one. Oh, I don't want to reserve it. I want to remove it. So although there we go. Now, that's how it's going to, this is what it's plopped in there. That's what it's going to stitch. I'm going to say finish. and give it a second. There you go. So now if you don't want that background to stitch in black, which is right here, you have to realize that some of the color inside it is the same. So I would select the whole design. I would then divide by color. And then this black background, if I don't want it to be black, I did divide by color, didn't I? Evidently not. Divide by color. And I should be able to grab that split stitches tool. And basically, I want anything inside this that was black to still be black. So I would snip around that section. Now, move it back to where it's supposed to be. And then your last color, you can change it to whatever color you want it to be. But I personally would not stitch that with a background. It's a lot of thread for very little gain. But it all depends on what you want. So, I mean, that's really that's the easiest way I can tell you. The background remover in Canva is really super simple to use. It does require a subscription. I think that's a premium function, but I mean, I use Canva a lot when I'm designing. Now, some things that you might want to know. Creative Fabrica is having a sale. Okay. And it is their 12 days of Christmas. And let's see here. What does that mean? It means for $47, you get a year. And that's like 80% off. So if you have not, if there's things that you like on Creative Fabrica and you use it a lot, now is a good time to get it. That is my affiliate link. I'll also post that in the comments so that you can just click on it, because that is really that is a super deal. That's much less than what I paid for it. Yeah, I mean, whatever you can find that will remove your background, go for it, because that is going to make it really, really nice. That helps a lot in the I mean, when I started this, when I started Photo Stitch, there was not a background remover out there in any program. With the advanced enhancements that they've come out with AI, it's amazing how you can do that. So, but if you Creative Fabrica, that's where I get a lot of my artwork. They are having a super duper sale on their subscription. And I think tomorrow is the last day. No, Friday. The 5th is the last day of the sale. So, yeah, Kelly, I'm telling you, it is one of my go-to places, and especially with sublimation these days. Yeah, there's stuff in Artspira, and that's a great resource for us. But being able to pull from other places, it's amazing what you can find out there. And I've had a blast with it. So for me, I need to extend mine so that I have another year's worth, and I need to extend my membership. That way I can take advantage of it, because I mean, that's a super duper deal. I think it's $47 for a whole year. That's huge. So, all right, guys. You all have and I think they may have a place there as well where you can remove your background. I won't swear to that, but I think they may have a designer there where you can go in and remove backgrounds. Like I said, though, I wouldn't swear to it. So y'all have a great rest of your day. If there's nothing else, I will see you in 2 weeks, not next week, but the week after. Please think of things that you want to hear about and you want to learn about, and I will be happy to share. Otherwise, I am going to say goodbye for today. You are most welcome. I'm glad you all enjoyed it. See, one person just has to pop in with a question and we can make an entire show out of it. It's just got to be a good question, one that has a little depth to it. So, All right. You all have a wonderful, wonderful week. Hopefully everybody's safe and healthy. I think we may have a little bit of a illness in our house, but y'all have a good one. Talk to you later. Bye bye.